We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept.
Yeah. Good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever. That's the moon speech. I wanted to watch that just because I wanted to watch it, because it's one of my favorite speeches. That and some of Reagan's speeches, which were great. But that was that was kind of fascinating, because that speech was done on a piece of land owned by Rice University down by Clear Lake. I never knew that. I mean, I thought that was done up in Washington somewhere. And, well, that's fascinating because that was my last full-time job. NASA. Safety and Missions Assurance Engineer Contract. That's the plaque they gave me when I left. So I guess I'm an engineer like Michael Saylor. I wish. But what struck me with that speech, I never really paid that much attention to the first few minutes of it. But like the first 2.5 minutes, it was really almost like the stuff Michael Saylor was covering in the Breedlove interviews. Like going back to early man and going through the periods and what they did and how they channel energy and stuff like that. And that's basically what the first 3 minutes of the Kennedy speech was about. Taking all the history and condensing it down and showing the progression of man. Well, that's kind of how Saylor presents, Bitcoin channeling energy. So anyway, I just thought that was really, what a coincidence, I mean, it's just kind of blows my mind since that's where I work. So anyway, going on to Bitcoin. Let's see what we got. We have the big B conference today, which really didn't do anything. So, I mean, we got a little punch out of it there. Starting yesterday, today's the 22nd already. So 2 days ago, we started the day before the conference, started spiking up. So now it's up 8% since then, which, is not too bad, sitting at 31,800. So I had a friend today asking me, about it, and, should he get in it, and he didn't know because he wasn't sure and he didn't understand it. And I said, well, no, if you don't understand it, you don't know what you're doing, don't get into it, okay? So he can come to me, I can tell him what he needs to know. Anyway, I was going to discuss today the gentleman that I heard on the radio the other night talking about the digital currency versus Bitcoin. So we're gonna have an issue coming up. Let me get the screen back on, right? This thing is acting funky wonky. Oh well, there we go. So the economist I was listening to, he's not as far as I know, he's not like a YouTuber or technical TA guy on Bitcoin, but he knows a lot about how things work, what's coming, what's going to happen, and he was talking about how digital currency is coming for sure, no ifs, ands, or buts, cash is going away, and you will have a centralized digital currency. So it's going to be a slow process because they're going to have to slowly walk people through this because they can't just spring it on them. Because more than likely, it'll involve some kind of a reset. You know, they may say, all right, we're going to give you digital currency, which is going to give you, you know, a percent, maybe pay you 5% on your money or something like that. But they're probably going to take something when they switch it over. You know, like Germany did twice in history, where Germany reset their monetary system and basically gave the people like 50%, you know, 50 cents on the dollar of what they had for the new currency. So is that going to happen? Could. They're going to have to do it in a slick way, which they always do. They're going to make you think it's one thing when it's really another. Just like they try to push their... I ain't going to get political. But anyway, he said it's coming. No doubt about it. Cash is going away. And here's the issue with that. It's a centralized digital currency. China has a digital yuan already. Japan has a digital currency. I think France is working on one or has one. And the thing about it is, you know, if I went to the bank, like I said in my previous video, and I took out $500 and I went over to the store or went to the hardware store and then grocery store, gas station, wherever, and spent $400 of it, they don't have any idea where that $400 went. They know I took it out of my account, but they don't have a clue where it went. You know, if it's under $1,000 or something, I think they started flagging stuff. Like, you went in the bank and withdrew so much money. I don't remember what the dollar amount was. I think $10,000 or something. If you did that, they will flag you and notify, you know, authorities that you withdrew so much money. It's ridiculous. Your freaking money. But anyway, so what's going to happen with the digital currency is they're going to be able to track everything you buy, how much you buy, where you bought it, when you bought it, who you bought it from. Or if you send somebody money, they're going to know who you sent the money to, what they spent it on. They're going to be able to track everything, and the ultimate goal, I guarantee, is to have a one world currency like that, where they can globally track all of it. So any country, and you know, all these countries have to agree on this stuff, you know. So I don't know. I mean, I have no clue how the U.S. and China would agree on something like that, because man, it's getting touchy out there, Taiwan and stuff. But so here's the thing: Bitcoin is not a centralized currency, so it's decentralized. Hence the word DeFi, decentralized financing, and it can be tracked by a key, and the key can be tracked back to you probably through IP address, MAC addresses, or things like that, or your phone IME number or EMI number, whatever that is, or some whatever identifies your phone. And yeah, but it's a lot harder to track stuff like that through Bitcoin. And even if they did, I mean, it doesn't matter. They're not going to be able to confiscate it. You know, your Bitcoin. I guess they could throw you in jail, you know, and say, well, you can't use your Bitcoin because we're going to throw you in jail. But that's not going to happen unless you're doing something you're supposed to be. So this is kind of going to be a war, because if the U.S., as slow as encumbered they are, can actually come up with a digital currency in the next 5 years, which, I mean, that would be a stretch for me to believe they would be able to do that. But they probably had people working on it for years and years and years. So maybe they will be able to do it. So they can't attack Bitcoin. They haven't been able to. They haven't said anything about it. They haven't regulated it. They tax it. It's capital gains. If you buy $10,000 worth of Bitcoin, you sell it and make 30 grand, you got to pay capital gains on that money. Of course, I was buying before all that, mine is already so far in the past where I made money that, it's not going to be taxable. I mean, I didn't make enough, the government to worry about anybody like me. So, that's the thing. So you're going to have people over here using decentralized Bitcoin that's free of inflation, free of government meddling, free of tracking, basically. And you're going to have the whole other set of citizens, which is probably going to be 70 to 80%, if they can do it within 2 or 3 years, because people, we're still early in the game on Bitcoin. I mean, I've been doing it for 8 years, and all the TA guys and stuff are saying, we're early, man. This is early. This is not late. People think, well, it's too late. It's $30,000, and this is early, man. I mean, it could go down to 20 or 15 again. That's fine. I mean, it's just going to go back up. I mean, most of them are predicting 100,000 Bitcoin within the year, or even at the end of the year, but I don't think so. But so that's the thing. So are you going to be on the government's leash because of your digital purchases and your digital tracking of everything you do? I mean, you're already tracked with your phone, so if you carry a phone around, you're tracked. Your data's tracked, everything's recorded. It's a permanent record. I was going to mention this the other day. I was on Facebook Messenger that I use somewhat, sometimes, and I noticed when you go in to delete a chat, you swipe it over to the left, and there was a delete button, and I would delete chats for however long I've had it, a long time. And it said delete. I said delete. And so I noticed after their last update, if you go in there and you swipe it to the left, it says archive. Okay? And I said, what? Why does it say archive? I don't want to archive, I want to delete it. Okay, so, and then there's a more button. If you push on more, then there's the delete option. You hit delete. So I started digging into Messenger, and I went in and I found all my chats going back to 2010 on my phone. Yeah. Almost 12 years. I could not freaking believe it. So, as I was swiping and hitting delete, it was archiving it, obviously. So, is that why they changed the button to archive instead of delete? And now if you hit delete now, is it actually deleting it or is it going into archive? I mean, that's just bullshit, man. I mean, not that it matters because that stuff is in a permanent record anyway on a server somewhere. Data center, multiple servers, it's already recorded. Anything you do is already recorded, so it really doesn't matter. All my Bitcoin transactions are recorded. Even though I'm on the blockchain using the blockchain ledger that the government doesn't have the ability to access. They can look at it. They can't do anything with it other than look at it. So, yeah, that was kind of interesting to say the least. And anyway, so the point here is to, you're going to either go left or right, what direction you're going to go. And it's really amazing to me how many people don't really care or just don't want to mess with Bitcoin because they don't understand. They don't know about it. They don't know what it is. They're scared of it. They like their dollars. That's fine. No problem. If you got plenty of dollars, hey, go. I mean, if I was making, 150 grand a year or 200 grand a year right now, probably wouldn't be that much worried about Bitcoin either. But, you know, if it's devaluing at 15 to 20% a year, then you're making, instead of 150,000, you're really making like 110. So if it goes up to 30 or 40%, which with the current political system now, yeah, they want to raise taxes. So that's just going to make it worse. So you have 20% inflation, you have 25% taxes or 30% taxes, then you have sales tax. So you figure that's close to 50%, something in that area. So whatever you make, half it. And that's what you have left to spend on whatever you want, basically. Unless you've got tax loopholes and everything. So the wealthy people, how they get around it is, you know, through the tax loopholes that they can get, but they leverage debt is what they do. They don't use their hard assets as spendable to buy whatever. They use the hard asset to get a low interest loan from a bank, credit union, whoever, get a low interest loan, and they leverage the debt against it. So if you're making 38%, 40%, 100% on your hard asset, and you got to pay off a loan at 2%, well, what are you going to do? You're going to use your hard asset that's making 100% and siphon it off, or are you going to go borrow the money from somebody at 2%, and over here take 2% out of your 100% or 2% out of your 40% and pay off your loan note? You know, it makes perfect sense to me. So I used to think people were crazy for, well, I wouldn't remortgage my house, but you know, there's people that have done it. You know, there's people that have sold their house, mortgaged their house, and bought Bitcoin. You know, were they wrong? I don't know. If they sold it 2 years ago, a house for 200 grand, and they had 150,000 in equity, and they put that into Bitcoin a few years ago and sold it at 60, they probably got close to $1 million now. So it's not really a stupid investment, if you ask me. But yeah, it's risky stuff. But you know, hey, if you ain't gonna take any risk in life, take any chances, you're never gonna. It's just gonna be boring. So anyway, that's what's coming. Is well, we have decentral Bitcoin, and we will have digital currency. So get ready for it, because you won't have a credit card. Well, you might have a credit card. I don't know. They could still use those, I guess. But according to this guy, you know, that stuff that's old technology. He said, you know, that stuff, credit cards, things like that, they just need to go away because you don't need it anymore. You know, not with digital. So I don't know. I mean, cash will go first, coins, dollars, so you'll have credit cards and things. And I mean, you think about the banks now. I mean, how many times do you go to the bank and get cash? I mean, does anybody go to the bank and get cash? I mean, I really haven't been. I used to go like once a week, you know, get several $100s, just carry around, and I haven't really done it maybe 4 or 5 times this year. So, because it's just, you know, they ain't got change, or there's a coin shortage or something. So yeah, they're chopping the head off cash. All right. Anyway, so as far as Bitcoin goes, we are still in the 31,000, 40,000 range. Well, 36,000 range, 31, 35,000, something like that. And I mean, it's just going sideways. I mean, like we had 8%. But we had that 8% drop the other day because of that dump, the 29,000 dump. I mean, the 79,000 Bitcoin dump. And whoever that was, I'd really like to know. But that's the thing, you can't find out. Somebody dumped 79,000 Bitcoin. Who was it? Nobody knows. So, yeah, there's a key, but you can't track it. I mean, I guess the government could if they wanted, but they don't have any interest in doing that. So we don't know. So somebody manipulate the market. But we're back up to where we were before they did that. So yeah, it seems to be the consensus of the Bitcoin community that all of us or whoever want it to consolidate and range in here. So yeah, see if you go back over here, this is where we were up here on this line. Look at this consolidation. It's crazy. It's been going on for a long time. The last time we were up to 34,000 was back on July 12th. And then before that, here we were again at 32,000 back in July 10th. So 2 weeks, and I could probably go back another month on that, and it'd probably be going on for a whole month or more, 2 months or 3 months. So really, the people I've been talking to, or not talking to, people I've been watching, I think the consensus is pretty much we are going to go sideways for probably the rest of the summer. So that's a long time, man. So, unless something happens, some big news event, some other event or whatever, we're probably going to range sideways. So, is it a good time to buy? I mean, I bought at these levels already. I'm kind of at my limit right at the moment. But if I can liquidate and get some liquidation going, and I'll buy some more at 30. I mean, it doesn't matter. My cost average is still about 13,000, 12,500. So if I bought, quite a bit of Bitcoin at 30,000, yeah, I'd bring my cost average up to 20,000 or 21,000. So, it's a little more riskier buying at those high levels when you already bought at a low level. But hey, you either believe or you don't, right? All right, guys. I'm gonna get off, and I'll maybe put something on later. All right, eyes up always.